But I think we did have a lot of like connections and like a lot of like good reputation at that point as well. And then I think from there, a lot of gigs like lead on to other gigs.
I was sitting in the meeting with the client pre-pandemic, and they were like, okay, so how much is this going to cost? And I was like, not sure, I didn't want to charge too much. And I said 10,000 Rand, right? And I was like, yo.
So I think making sure that you price reasonably for the clients, I think always helps put your name out there a bit more and just helps build that client relations as well.
Hi, I'm Yaku.
And I'm Kaelan.
And I'm Mark.
And welcome back to Department Spotlight, which is the show where we speak to our friends and colleagues about their experiences in the film industry. Today, we are talking about being colleagues and friends because we are talking about starting a production company and working on corporates and then, goals, money, all that kind of fun stuff. So let's get into it. Cool, guys. So we actually, I don't know if I shared this with you guys on the day, but we have owned Loop Pictures Pty Ltd for exactly a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
As of when?
As of the 14th of August. We have now owned this company for exactly over a year.
Congratulations, Yaku, Mark, and Kaelan.
And Kaelan. So we're going to be talking about just start to finish. How did we... Well, start to finish, we're not done.
I'm trying to say something.
No, well, from the start till now, we're just going to talk about what it's been like, what's money like, how do we get clients, what kind of clients do we work with, stuff like that. So to start with, we started the company on the 14th of August, 2020, which is like the weirdest time to start a company. It's just like pandemic is starting to resolve itself, but I mean, a year later, we're still going. So it's a weird time to start a company, but let's talk about it. In those first couple of months, how did we do? Do you guys remember?
Yeah, I think we spoke about starting a company for I think 2020 quite a bit, and then things got finalized and contracts were drawn up. Shout out to Michael. But I think once we started, I think we're still getting in the swing of things. We were driving out to clients, trying to get clients, and trying to research who to contact, trying to make write copy to make a commercial that we still haven't shot yet. But I think in the beginning it was just more trying to head out for clients because we knew how we wanted to get paid, how the company would get started, how the company would take a certain amount of commission. But I think the main thing was knowing that what the company stood for and what we wanted in the end, which is we wanted to eventually just make a production house that makes movies, everything
and TV shows.
And TV, everything leading to the end is just it's just the bread and butter that helps fund it. And obviously we still have some passion for that, just also challenges us. But I think the end goal will always be trying to, be a production house. And I think we pretty much set on that path. I think we've done a lot of things that's getting us close to achieving that goal of making that become the main thing. And I think a lot's been done in the year. I think especially now in this year. Yeah.
So let's talk about when we started. The first step was registering the name, the company, getting the number, all that stuff, and then getting a bank account, and then starting to pay us. We actually, I don't know if you guys remember this, we didn't get paid until November of 2020.
Yeah.
That was the first month that we actually made money properly. Because before we registered, we actually just were freelancing and we were working together on freelancing projects, hence starting a company, tax reasons, all that stuff. And we didn't make money at all for 3 months. So, nothing. I think we made 3,000 Rand in September and nothing in August and nothing in October. Mm-hmm. And then November, we actually found some clients and we started and we paid a salary to each of us.
And it wasn't even a big salary back then.
No.
Half what we getting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So why I'm saying that is because I don't know, there might be people thinking about starting a production company and Don't start the production company thinking you're just going to get all the clients just because you're a production company.
I suppose it's don't start any company thinking you're gonna.
True. I guess the best way to do it is to already have some clients as a freelancer or as a collective of freelancers, and then porting them into the company once you started. I think with us though is we had some clients and projects that we were working on, but they sort of ended at the same time that we started the company, which was weird. And then we've since March actually, we've had a pretty good year. We've had a very good year. We did have some profits at the end of financial year 2020. Or was it 2021? I always get confused. We're in financial year 2022 now.
I just want to establish that Yaku is our unofficial CFO. So while Yaku is talking right now, me and Mark are thinking of pigeons and
So we made a little bit of profit, but it's like nothing. It's literally nothing. And
I think the main thing is like in terms of, like you said, like where we started, I think I was just coming off of music videos. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I was making money off of. And even that was like minimal. And it's funny you say that, because like as we started the company, lockdown like started. So that's what contributed. Not started, but it started the next year. But I mean like...
No, it was after. We started in August.
When was
lockdown? 2020. Lockdown was March.
Damn, exactly. So even, so like we started like when things were so crazy, and I think I don't want to complain and say that's the reason, but I think that definitely contributed to like the sluggish start. But I think with a lot of companies, you shouldn't expect to start like making like tons and tons of profit from the beginning. I mean, I always go back to that example that Netflix for the longest time wasn't making like a profit as well, and Uber and things like that. So I think just keep working at it, making sure that, you are putting in the time and effort, because we did go headhunting. I mean, putting yourself out there, me and Mark, we know like the stories of where we just like had to get out of our introverted natures and just try and pitch to different people, even if it didn't like lead us anywhere and stuff. I think it's just at least putting out that in
Nothing came of that.
Yeah, but I think it was important for us to just like get into that mind, because I think it shows the dedication towards the company.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that just helped build a confidence in saying this is what we want our company to build into. And and then we slowly started getting clients, and then we started getting the resources, and we got some really good clients that just lined up. And I think but our perseverance before then was like, let's not just give up, even though we haven't for 3 months haven't made anything.
Okay, I can say this though. We've made 20% of all the money that we made in 2021. So from March till now, 20% was just in 1 month, and that was just this past month. So it like starts slowly and it builds, and then all of a sudden, when people notice, oh, you're hardworking and you deliver a good product, that's when the money starts coming in. Speaking of the product, let's talk about corporate videos, because that's what we've been making our money from. We know that on this channel, it took us a very long time to get monetized, and even now we're not getting that much money from YouTube ads. So we have obviously had to keep ourselves afloat with another way, which was making corporate videos. The films as well, they're just like a black hole of losses, but we are making a little bit of money from sub as well. So we're literally just diversifying our incomes, but the main thing, probably 90%, 95% even, is corporate videos.
Definitely.
So let's talk about how do we get those clients?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is you just need to make sure you build up your name first and show that you have a credible work to go off of. So with me, like I know that in the beginning I wasn't getting paid much at all, but that's because people didn't know my ethic and my work and all of that. So I think once I started building that, people started realizing you can rely on this person and they can be consistent on some level. That's when you start building clients, and that's when they start referring you, because if you keep like cancelling on them or postponing and stuff, then I think your name has to speak for you first before anything else. And if you have that credible workload going in, and the nice thing was we jumped into a company where all of us kind of had like our names mean something in the kind of work that we do. I think that's the main thing, is making sure that when clients do talk to you with other potential clients, that it's a good thing that they're saying. So I think that's the main thing, that the unseen discussions happening with other clients because of your name. I think that helps a lot in growing your business.
Yeah, I think, similar thing. I think the reason you mentioned earlier that ad that we're going to make, and we kind of ended up not making it, not because we're like, oh, we don't need it or whatever, but we were going to make it because at that time we didn't have that many like clients or things on the go at the moment, as in...
You're talking about the spec ad?
Yeah. But I think we did have a lot of like connections and like a lot of like good reputation at that point as well. And then I think from there a lot of gigs like lead on to other gigs. Or like, and then it's just really good to maintain a good relationship with someone so that you can be recommended to someone else, because that's pretty much what's happened with us, is that we work with someone and then they've given us a contact, and then that job has led to another job, and then if you're working on stuff with that gets bigger with like other people, then you're gonna meet all those people, and then it sort of starts to like branch out like a tree.
I think just onto that point, I think that's something very, very important to realize with the company. It's just also just your humility when you're dealing with clients, because sometimes things can get heated, but I think you always have to draw yourself back and just make sure that you try and meet the client in the middle, because client relations is, I believe, a very important thing. And I think in maintaining that, obviously you shouldn't be a doormat completely, but I think in maintaining client relations, being respectable in your approach, and like we work with this one company where we had to do like quite a bit of work for, and from working with them I learned a lot as well. And one of the things I learned that I try to apply is also that when it comes to like pricing yourself and things like that, don't always think about the short term, trying to make as much money out of the clients in this one job. Try and price yourself well, so that in the long term they're going to keep coming back to you. And then that's how I believe, like, just so like I don't believe when you find a new client and you're like, oh, they have a big name, let's give them these big numbers that all these massive companies are charging them. I believe charge something that is reasonable for yourself, but also it's not going to be not going to blow them out of the water with that first gig, because what if you don't prove yourself to be worth that massive amount you charge? I think try and always think for the long run, like, even though you are like struggling that month, try and say, okay, this is my work, this is how much I'm going to price you, because I want to keep this relationship going. And then from there, you can maybe like over a yearly basis start building up your services and your pricings. But I think you have to maintain good pricing just to keep the longevity of that relationship with the client. And maybe at the end you can throw in a discount. I think client relations is very good, as important as like if we get more employees, as employee relations. I think it's just to make sure that everyone's happy and that you're meeting in a good space in the middle. So that's the approach, obviously, with when it comes to charging for corporate videos and things like that.
I'm always worried that I don't charge enough because when you do freelancing stuff, sometimes, especially in the beginning, like I think we're still in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. People who have been working for 10 years would charge maybe double what we're charging now. But like I remember when I was freelancing still, there was this animation thing that I was doing. And I was sitting in the meeting with the client pre-pandemic, and they were like, okay, so how much is this going to cost? And I was like, not sure. I didn't want to charge too much. And I said, 10,000 Rand, right? And I was like, for one job, this is only going to take me 2 weeks. And then they were like, oh, good. We thought it was going to be like 40. And I was like, oh, could have charged like 30, and I would still have been under their expectations. Mm-hmm. So it's always like difficult to find yourself, but it's a similar story to what Kaylin said, because I said 10,000 for that first thing, they came to me with another thing which I charged a little bit more, and another thing even more, and another thing. Yeah, no, I agree with that's really good advice.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially with corporates, like they do deal with, like, we've got a lot of gigs because we were priced below, but at the same time we weren't priced below what we think we still worth, So I think, making sure that you price reasonably for the clients, I think always helps put your name out there a bit more, and just helps build that client relations as well, because at this point now we are slowly hiking the prices a little bit, but because we know our experience is better, And yeah, I think it just helps with corporate videos. But on that note, when it comes to corporate videos, I think also just want to talk about that a bit more. I think also when you're starting out, you also need to be ready to pitch on the go, to work under like very strenuous hours, just to make sure the client's happy in the beginning. Because there's been times where it'll be the day before, and they'll say, "Listen, we got to pitch some ideas like the morning of, or we have to make this change," and you can't really be complacent and say, "No, I don't think I can do it," because they're gonna move on to someone else that's willing to do it. So I found that if you can prepare yourself to just like, you know there's going to be crunch times, there's going to be hard hours, and things you're going to have to come up with quite quickly on the fly, but prepare yourself mentally for those pitches. I think in the long run, it really helps, and then you kind of understand where you stand on those kind of pitches, and I think it just helps with good practice. I don't think, if something's scary, don't turn it away. And if you intimidate, I think just work at it, and then usually something that's scary in the beginning that you're uncomfortable with usually pays off quite well in the end. And there's going to be that cases where sometimes it didn't work as well as you thought, but I think 80% of the time when you're willing to put yourself out there for something that's scary, something that you think is going to be a lot of work, but if you just trust yourself and see and try and push your limits, I think it's going to really help you with those clients. If you show them you're willing to, I mean, we've got messages now from clients that said, because we always thought we were putting in so much work and you think it doesn't go unnoticed, but the clients actually say they're very grateful. They understand the hours that they work. They understand it's inconvenient. They understand 11 o'clock at night is the worst time to message someone. But at the end, they say that they're grateful, and that gratuity equals to keeping that client and keeping that cash flow coming in. So I think when it comes to corporate videos, that's just something you always got to remember. And just, and don't be scared also when it comes to corporate videos to sometimes just let the brand have a little bit more say and stuff like that, because they also know their markets. I think don't try, you bring your creativity to the table, but then I think it's kind of like a mutual funnel where it's different to like normal storytelling, where the brand kind of knows their target audience quite a bit. And when you're shooting these corporate videos, make sure that you can, most of the times, also have them on set so that they can see and they can monitor so that they don't come back later on and you can say, listen, but you were on set for this. And So yeah, I think learn to be a bit more humble when it comes to corporate videos and work a bit more with the brand. And I think that will really help you in the future, because I think we've had a couple of times where it kind of saved us where the client was on set and we said, but you were here for this and you were here for this. And it just kind of like helps save you as also. I think that's also good advice.
I agree, because like we said, our goal is to make feature films and TV stuff. And when you're the director, like a lot of the stuff that we talk about is filmmaking, narrative stuff, where it's like you're directing, you're in charge, you need to make sure it's to your spec, but for commercial work it's more what do they want, because they paying you, and there's no amount of like, no, but we agreed on this before. There's no amount of that that's gonna have them be like, you know what, you're right, you know better what's good for my business, so I'm gonna just shut my mouth. That's not gonna happen. So especially with editing corporates, I do like the first cut the way I think it's supposed to be, and then if they like it, amazing, it's because then I don't have to work on it anymore. But that almost never happens, and then they're like, okay, well, change this, change that, make it shorter, do this, and then I just have to. Then I probably should tell you guys as well. I'm like, these guys do not know what they want, but them telling you after like experimenting is just part of the process, because we got the experience, we know what things are like, whereas they don't. So they work in a different industry. They just know they want a video and they want to get clients or customers, and they're hiring you to do that. So always just like, it's like complain in your head, but then just do what they want.
Well, complain to your colleagues, That's usually how me and Jaco go about it. It's just a voice note like, and then
this is not going to work. It's going to be too long.
And it's funny because I spoke to someone that's helped us out quite a bit, and it's been kind of like the intermediary or the middleman between these clients. And he's even said to us, like, sometimes, like, the clients will, like, they'll watch the first cut and then make the changes and make. And then at the end of the day, it just comes back to what it originally kind of was. But, like, sometimes, you just have to understand that they come from a different world. They got different kinds of stresses. And, and sometimes because if they brought us into their world and they're like, can you talk about this and help us? I'm sure we would also give similar notes that you don't come from the same industry, so you can't kind of be on that same level of understanding. So I think...
Interesting point. Yeah, that's a really good way to think about if you're annoyed about someone's notes, is that if you were asked to come into their world and give notes on something.
Exactly. They would also probably be like,
your notes would be, yeah.
they would think it's, yeah. So I think that just helps. Like, so I think just try and take away your ego as much as possible. Like I could say, complain in your head, probably go punch a wall, don't do that. But like, you know, at the end of the day, just we're in more of a service industry, so it's trying to make them happy. The customer's always right kind of vibe. So, and then later on when you eventually have your stuff established and stuff, I think you can complain about it a bit more. But I think in the beginning you have to, because at the end of the day they are paying for it, you know. It's not like you're doing this for free. It is their money and they want to have a certain kind of look, and if it's their money, I respect it. This is how the process needs to go. It's all business, you know. It's never personal. And I think you should always just look at it like that when you're starting a production company, because you do not want to in your first year burn bridges because you feel like you're too arrogant, especially with corporate videos. I think you have to bring yourself down and you have to make sure that you meet them in the middle. Otherwise, I don't think that company will last like at all. Because if I look at going off topic, but with my dad's company as well, there's been quite a few times where massive companies have like basically I have hammered him down and said and criticized him and stuff, but he's never actually like barked back. He's just been like, okay, this is what needs to happen, because he understands this is how you need to nurture your business in order to keep the relationship good, and that gratuity will be paid off later on in life, later on in your business. So, you know, that's the advice.
Gratuity tips.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about when we were speaking about the actual product is there's been a few jobs that require a lot of different like techniques and stuff that we haven't necessarily put all together before, we used all, like in theory we could do that thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think a good and we're talking about like sort of being afraid, and I think a good way of going about it is like just be like, yeah, sweet, I can do that. and then just figure it out, like,
Yeah.
because not saying that you can't do it or something, or you aren't lying at all. It's not lying. It's like, yes, I can do that. Like, and then you
I just haven't done it before.
I just haven't done it before. But you just figure it out. You don't tell them that you haven't done it before. But then that's a good thing. That's the reason why you like have colleagues, right? And why you're not just doing it solo. It's because someone's got a skill, and then you're not necessarily good at that skill. And I'm saying this because Yaku teaches us how to do everything. And then just if you want to start a business and you want to do corporate videos and you want to do well, just have a Yaku Van Bosch, and then
You're giving me way too much credit.
and then you'll be good.
No, but like I think that's true, because like I was talking about pitching the next day kind of thing, and there was this really massive client that was like, okay, we need 9 ideas for this new product we're launching. You need to pitch it to us by like the end of like 5 o'clock today or something. And then I was like, of course, sure, yes, it's done. As soon as I go, Yaku and Mark, I need you to help me. And it's because I know Yaku and Mark are really good with on-the-spot kind of thinking, and like, even though they're not established as copywriters, they really have that kind of mindset. And so, like, literally in like 3 hours, they sent me a bunch of things that had me like, whoa, this is amazing. I took that to the client. They were like, that's it. That's on the ball. And I think it's also just trusting the people you're with. And yeah, like, you're going to be scared sometimes saying yes to things, but if you have confidence with the people you're with, like, as long as it's within reason, I don't say like, yeah, we'll make a movie in like a week or something. But like, if it's within reason and you believe
I don't know, if you give me enough money, I'll make a movie.
Didn't they made Whiplash in 17 days or something like that?
What?
Yeah,
No,
they made
really short,
a really short time. Yeah. So yeah, I think saying like, it sounds like we're yes theory now. Seek this confidence. But yeah, like if you have some confidence, even when it's scary, just kind of say yes to it and try to agree with it. If you trust the people around you, just trust your skills and know that you can make a plan. Because there's been multiple times where I've just had the mindset that I'll make a plan. There's been like this massive shoot we had with Subaru as well, where they were like, listen, we need a photographer in like 11 hours, and I called everyone I knew, and it allowed me to actually meet so many car photographers I would never met, and like just from making sure that I try to just have the mentality of I'm gonna make a plan. And at the end of it, that picture now is sitting on Subaru's Instagram page and all of that, because we found such fantastic people. And none of us are photographers, but I was like, I'm going to make this work for my business. Yeah. This is a big client and stuff like that.
And going off of that as well, like, we didn't take those pictures ourselves, right? We got somebody to do it, but they remember that we're the people who made it happen, so they came back to us, you know? It's like, even if your company specifically doesn't have that facility, you can still outsource, be the middleman, and then it leads to other things where you have more involvement, or where you like have an opportunity to pay your friends, you know, which is pretty cool, because I'm sure as a creative everybody knows more creatives, you know, and then it's such a cool thing to like do a job and you get paid, and you've got your colleague or your friend who's also really good at what they do. Obviously not like, oh, I'm going to get my brother who's
sitting on a couch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to get my accountant wife to come do pictures. But yeah, it's an awesome feeling to like, yeah, we all getting paid to do things that we like doing.
Yeah, I think that's an important note. It's just the outsourcing of things as well. I like what I found in this year in particular is that our industry has so much outsourcing. Like it's a lot of like big companies outsourcing like agencies to say we need this, and then agencies outsourcing to other agencies, and then those agencies outsourcing, and then like we like near the bottom because we like the actual production.
For now,
yeah. I mean, at the end goal is to make movies, so it doesn't really, but yeah. So like you'll find there's a lot of outsourcing. So don't be afraid to also be like, if you feel like you know people that's in that space, don't be afraid to hire freelancers, and then you know, you work off of that kind of basis, and then you end up like you know, just being the middleman for that. So yeah, I think outsourcing is something that's a lot in this industry.
Even for projects where there was editing, like we did most of the editing, like for the Future Females thing, and then we got another person in to also do a part of it, because even though we can do editing, it's like we don't have the time. We've got other things, and they bring their own set of skills that we don't have, and you know, I feel like companies grow like this, you know. Eventually we can employ maybe a photographer who just goes out and does photography things. For now we're outsourcing. Eventually we can employ another editor, another person. Good example is Caitlin, who does all of our social media. Shout out Caitlin. So she does all of our social media posting. So every time you see a post or a story or anything like that, that's Caitlin. She's also the first line editing of all the YouTube stuff. So and then that frees us up. So we pay her, and then that frees us up to also work on other projects where we can continue doing the YouTube, which we love, while also making money, and then paying another person, and it's just this awesome thing, you know.
Yeah, and shout out to Caitlin. She really does help a lot in terms of YouTube and all that. Like she's like our front line of defense kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think yeah. So outsourcing is a big thing, and yeah, like don't be afraid to say yes to projects you're scared of. I think it really helps you in the long run so much. And I think our company wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for that kind of thinking and stuff. And we can also say it's going to be scary if you're starting out a company. I think a lot of people can probably testify that. And also, if you have started your own company and stuff, please also just maybe give a comment about your guys' stories as well. For things we could learn about from you guys too. But
I was just going to say about he's saying being scared about starting a thing is that I think what helped us whenever we were afraid was we just think like, what's the alternative? And like being a freelancer, which is lame, or
no offense to all the freelancers.
I mean, no, freelancers are amazing, and if that's your thing, then definitely. But I think in terms of, I think we found what works for us. But my point in all that is that if you're afraid, think about like, what's the alternative? Would you rather be doing something else? If that answer to that is yes, then you've got a problem. But if it's no, then just then
Keep doing
it starts to sort of like satiate that kind of that fear, because whenever I was afraid, it's like, oh, what's the alternative? Being an editor at a production company, and then just, I don't know,
having
feeling
very
like
little say.
an employee and not having much say, versus, and then I'm like, oh no, this is actually
Yeah.
what I want to be doing. Yeah.
Also, like, I was always the guy, because I did have a 9 to 5 editing job, and then when I left there, I was like, I'm just going to be a freelancer. I don't want to have a company.
That was not a 9 to 5. That was a 9 to 9.
Whatever. It was a thing. And then eventually we just were doing all these things, and it, like, tax reasons, it makes a lot more sense. I was trying to get a loan to buy more equipment, and I couldn't because my salary wasn't coming in on a specific day from a specific company. And it just eventually, like, after a year of freelancing, it just made sense because we were already working together. So the money, well, as we said earlier, it wasn't there in the beginning, but the money would come. And the nice thing about having a company is that it separates your work from your personal life. So all of we've got a business account, and all the money from the business goes into there, and then we get paid a salary. So when we go to the bank and we want a loan, they're like, oh, you've got consistent income. So that's fine. And it just makes life easier, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think for me as well, like, I'm getting married now as well, like a lot of the things of buying a house and all of those things.
Celebration.
A lot of those things is that you just, like, the man has structured life in such a way that you need to make sure that you're getting paid on a specific date from a company and all of these things. So for us, it just made so much sense to kind of just have it be something like a company that's not really accountable, but something that you all draw from and you work from, and it kind of says an establishment that you all can kind of, that it can hold you accountable as well, and especially when you have leave days and on all those, and if you don't make a certain amount of money, then the salary's not there and kind of thing. So I don't know, having a company just kind of keeps things nice and formal, tax reasons you said as well, and like for us, and for the end of the day, we also just wanted to have a quality production company in South Africa that we know that we would want people to come to make stories for the country. So for us, it's also just the long-term goal of our passions, which is still film. And this is the vehicle that's driving that now. And there's this beautiful, like, kind of saying that this, I can't remember what his name is, but it's this really successful businessman that I watched. I think it was on Bloomberg or something, where he said starting a business, the first 3 years is like trying to bowl a car in like in a garage where you can't really see that much and stuff like that. People can't really see that, and it's all this work and stuff. But after all that time, when you finally reveal to people how much work went into it and stuff, and it's something you can be proud of. But in the meantime, it's going to take a lot of sweat and tears and all of that. And eventually, when it starts getting to the point where it takes some time to get profitable and be patient, but if you have that passion, if you have that end goal, once you open those doors and show the beauty of what's been like, or the beauty of what you've been working on for all that time and where all that effort went to, I think then it just kind of is a testament to other people to, like, I know a lot of people think this production companies just are there, but it takes a lot of work to get to where you need to be, a lot of patience, and a lot of, like, just keeping your mouth shut for certain things when it comes to clients and stuff like that. So I think, so if you are starting out, just know that it's going to take a lot of work getting into it, and just keep remembering what's the end goal and why you're doing this. Because if you can't answer that, don't do it. Like, if you're just doing it for the sake of making money and there's no drive behind it, you're going to struggle even more, because then you don't have that driving passion behind what you're doing to tell people this is why I'm working so late and this is why I'm doing that. So I think you need to make sure those elements are there for you to build a beautiful business in the end.
That was awesome. I think that's a great place to end it. If you have any questions about starting a company, leave them down there in the comments. We would love to answer them. Obviously, companies are like different in different countries. So if you're not in South Africa, we might not be able to answer all of your questions. Leave them down there in the comments. We'll try to reply to all of them.
And if you have also any stories you'd like to share with us, please do as well. That'd be really amazing.
And advice, tips. I mean, we're only a year in. We would love to grow more. So if you have any advice, please leave them down there. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, just destroy it, or just gently hit it. I don't know what your personality is.
Like preferences.
So yeah, exactly. And subscribe. We've got tons of content on filmmaking, mostly narrative filmmaking, writing, all that kind of thing. So browse. If you find a bunch of things that you like, press subscribe. And if you are really, really liking this stuff, like I'm saying like you watch all of our videos. If you watch all of our videos, right, and you like all of our videos, and you have some money, please press the join button. We were talking about starting a business, and that's just another part of our business that actually funds our short forms. So if you join the channel, you can choose a tier. Doesn't matter which one. All that money goes straight into a dedicated account that's just for making short films, and ultimately, like we said, that's what we want to do. So if you want to do that, please join, and then
catch us on Sup as well. Shout out Sup.
Yes, check out the films that we have made on sup.co.za. A small subscription, and it's not just our films. Everybody else's films. Well, not everybody, but like a lot of people's films.
A lot of
really
South African content is on.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. But that's it from us, and until next time, go out there, stay safe, and make your movie.